Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your ultra-terrestrial producer,
Riley Bray. You know, that hello there, Michael, had just a hint of Santa. And I was like,
did it really?
It's a little early. It's like when you start hearing the Mariah Carey and you're like, wait a minute, hold on.
I mean, my tree is going up this weekend as this episode drops. So Santa is coming up. He's you know what? I think I hear him on my roof right now.
I bet you have really good Star Wars ornaments.
I do have really good Star Wars ornaments. In fact, I just got I was back in KC recently, and Hallmark is a Kansas City company. I don't know if you knew this.
I did.
But they have really good Hallmark stores still in Kansas City. And I wish I could show it to you right now. I got a Darth Vader keepsake ornament that looks like the original Kenner figure on its card back from 1977.
Awesome.
I am hoping they do. It's like, maybe 3 inches tall. I'm hoping that they do a whole series of these, because if they do, I will be buying one every single year. But yeah. My mom used to give me, I should say Santa Claus used to give me an ornament with my stocking every year.
Oh.
And there was a really good run in the 90s. Like when high school Michael got his stocking, there was usually a Star Wars ornament in it.
And you have them all still?
Yeah. I have them all. And I've gone back on like eBay and gotten some of the ones that I've missed, but I always buy a Star Wars ornament for myself every year for my tree. I love my Christmas tree.
I knew I was hitting on something there that had to be.
Yeah. What do you decorate your tree with?
Bones, teeth. What's funny is I wouldn't be surprised. I do actually have an ornament of both bone and teeth, but I have a collection of quirky ornaments from over the years. And I definitely, since we've made this podcast, have come upon some Bigfoot and alien ornaments. There's a lot of those. And then
sure.
Some old ones,
growing up, did you get like guitar ornaments? When people give you like musical instrument ornaments?
We've talked about this in the show before, but guitar shaped everything. There's nothing that I was like, I finally told him, like, look, if you want to get me something shaped like a guitar, it can only be a guitar. Other than that, I don't want anything shaped like a guitar. Nothing else.
And you know what? If you're going to give us anything shaped like a Bigfoot, make it a Bigfoot.
Make it a Bigfoot.
Make it a real Bigfoot.
Although I do really like my Bigfoot ornaments. So
I do too. And people send us stuff who listen to the show. Man,
we're loving that. Yeah.
Speaking of Santa Claus, I have in the trunk of my car about 7 packages from BCC listeners that I have yet to open.
That's exciting.
I've been meaning to do it when we can get together, but maybe I'll just wrap them up and put them under my tree this year.
Please do that.
Okay, so it's BCC Friendsgiving. It's the last dish of the meal that we're serving y'all this month. What's BCC Friendsgiving, you ask? Riley, what is BCC Friendsgiving?
Well, we're just, we thought this would be a nice month for us to celebrate our friends. And so we're unlocking a bunch of different episodes, or have been and continuing to, that feature some of the friends of the BCC universe. Also, in addition to that, we're like, well, we can't really call it Friendsgiving. We're not really doing anything.
Yeah, without giving something.
Now is definitely a time for direct action and mutual aid. I'll leave it at that. And so we're like, hey, let's donate 10% of our income on the Patreon this month to the LA Food Bank, because that seems like a very worthy place to put some money, where you're going to see a direct action, which is food in someone's belly and someone
immediate effect,
respected and taken care of. And I think that's very important. So, you join the Patreon, you're helping give back, you're helping keep the show alive. You're also treating yourself to a whole bunch of episodes and things and scores and ad free and all the delicious bits for your holiday season. But so that's what we're doing this month over here.
Yep, and new episodes on the Patreon this month as well. So
of course,
you're getting the Patreon unlocks and shares over here, but new episodes on the Patreon. So please go check that out. Patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub. We have so much good stuff over there. It's insane.
It really is wild, yeah. So what are we serving up for our friends?
Okay, Michael? So this episode is a very fun one that I hand selected for the holiday weekend because I know a lot of people are traveling, and I know a lot of people are going to be in their cars, driving cross country, maybe driving in some bad weather. So what's more perfect than a BCC Paranormal road trip?
Ooh.
This is a road trip that I took with friend of the show, W. Dave Keith, my childhood best friend.
Mm-hmm.
We drove from Kansas City to Nashville a few years back and made some stops along the way, including Hopkinsville. We went to the site of the Kelly Hopkinsville goblin encounter. We went to the grave site of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet.
Mm-hmm.
We went to but could not access the Bell Witch caves because they were not yet open for the season.
Oops.
But we even drove through, we drove past places like the Lemp Mansion, which is a big haunted mansion that we did during Zombie Bigfoot's Crypt to Crypt a couple of years ago in St. Louis. So it's Dave and me traveling across the country, hitting up paranormal spots, talking about our thoughts on the paranormal, just having a good time. This one, everyone, is just for funsies, okay?
Yeah. It's a paranormal pilgrimage, if you will.
It is. And I would say this is the main entree of the Friendsgiving table. But because not all of us eat meat, this is a delicious tofurkey.
Have you ever had tofurkey?
I haven't. Is it bad?
It's not good.
Okay, well then what would you have as your main dish?
Oh, maybe we could do I mean, no shade to my tofurkey lovers out there. Yeah. I find that it tastes like an old sponge, but that's just me.
Well, this is definitely better than an old sponge. I will say that.
I think it is. Maybe we're getting fancy. We got some tempeh going. Maybe we got some seitan. Maybe we're making up a whole. We're going custom.
Satan?
Maybe you better believe it, baby. Maybe we got some cashew nut cheese on the side.
Okay.
We're going just, let's just call it the vegan meat alternative extravaganza.
You know what I'm gonna say?
What?
Friends are the main dish.
There we go. We're serving our friends for you to eat.
Yeah, no, wait. I'm saying that's the real reason we get together. But this episode might be all the delicious side entrees that are not mashed potatoes and gravy. This is your cranberry sauce. This is your tempeh. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Because what are you doing when you're driving down the highway and you pull over? You're going to the side. You're going off.
That's right.
You're doing a little
slice of pie. This is grandma's mac and cheese. My grandma.
Yeah. I will say this is an apple pie too. So maybe this is just dessert.
Oh, okay. So we
landed on it.
You know what? You just had my Thanksgiving experience. All the sides, none of the mains, and then a little dessert.
Yeah. All right. This is the apple pie. Okay, everybody. We will see you next week. Have a safe and happy holiday if you're celebrating here in the U.S. Otherwise, we love you. And don't forget that to come over to patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub. Help us donate some money to the LA Food Bank. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy this paranormal road trip with me and W. Dave Keith from the podcast Taco the Town. What's up, everybody? It's Michael McMillan, your old friend from Bigfoot Collectors Club, and this is a special report for Bigfoot Collectors Club, the other side, for you, our Patreon listeners. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me today is friend of the show, former guest, and host of his Kansas City-based Taco the Town food podcast, W. Dave Keith.
Hello.
Hey, Dave.
Hey.
What's going on, dude?
Well, not much,
So our listeners know that I've mentioned our paranormal road trips before, and we're currently headed from Kansas City down to visit some old pals in Nashville. But along the way, we're going to hit a couple supernatural and paranormal hotspots. On our list is the Bell Witch Cave, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, home of the Kelly Hopkinsville Goblin incident.
Yes.
Goblins incident, I should say. And we're currently in St. Louis, where you were telling me about a very spooky place.
Yes, St. Louis has one of the top 10 most haunted mansions in America. I think that's what the list said.
That is
It's the Lemp.
up there.
It is the haunted Lemp Mansion.
Is it limp or lemp?
Lemp.
Lemp.
L-E-M-P.
A haunted limp sounds like you go and then you leave with a phantom pain that causes a limp in your leg.
Or people hear ghosts limping through the mansion. It's Lemp. The family name was Lemp, L-E-M-P, and they had a brewery. They were brewers here in St. Louis. And yes, they have a very, very haunted, cursed house.
What's the history of the house? You were digging into it last night.
Yeah, I read the history to you last night. It's very long. Well, I know that 4 family members committed suicide in the house.
My family only has 4 people in it, so that's a lot of suicide.
Through the generations, I guess. And you were saying there's probably a curse having to do because the house is built upon these on top of these caverns where they used to and there was
the brewers
the
yeast.
They used to store it there. And there was
I don't know how beer's made. Do you grow it in a cave?
You go down into a cave, you make 2 rocks, you smash rocks together, and the beer comes out of that. There's tunnels underneath the house that connected to the
Which
nearby
is scary
brewery.
enough. Natural tunnels, like caverns?
Yeah, I guess they said they were, and that's why they picked that spot to build the brewery and the mansion.
That seems like a great spot to build a mansion. Let's put it on top of a bunch of haunted caves.
And I guess there's a lot of tunnels that you can not still go into, but there's just tons of tunnels underneath the mansion, and they've actually blocked some of them off because people sneak in. I mean,
that's a good name for a theme park. Tons of tunnels. Tons of tunnels.
Tons of tunnels.
It's just the theme park you enter and never escape from.
Well, St. Louis should get on that. They need to do haunted tunnel tours.
I didn't know there were so many tunnels running under St. Louis.
Yeah, it's all right next to the river too. And you were talking about how water, bodies of water and underground water and caverns are
conduit
synonymous
for
with
the paranormal.
Paranormal, yeah.
So what happened? So now what kind of experiences? So this brewer's family, the Lemp family, obviously their business did not take off like Budweiser.
No, they created Falstaff beer, which is, I think they had to sell it. I mean, Prohibition came, and I think that they did not fall back on that like Budweiser did, Anheuser-Busch. They did not
bounce back
after Prohibition, and the family owing to like mass depression.
Descended into deep depression. So what kind of hauntings will you experience if you go to Lemp Mansion?
They do tours. You can have dinners there, and it's kind of a touristy thing now. You can go and do tours of the house and see the rooms where the people have committed suicide, which is...
That sounds like a very goth prom night.
But people have witnessed, when they were redesigning the place or refurbishing it, workers would quit because they'd hear stuff or see stuff. They couldn't keep workers there. And then now when you go eat dinner, people said they've seen, glasses lift off tables and fly and smash against the wall.
They've seen
filled with beer.
Rocks smashing together and beer pouring out of the rocks.
Yeah, and in Life magazine, November 1980, it was one of the most... It was called one of crowned one of the most haunted houses in America.
Cool. We passed it last night on the highway, and it looked super spooky.
It's got a really creepy mural painted on the side of it.
It's big, tall, Victorian-looking, like brick mansion with lots of tall spooky trees around it.
It's on a creepy little street, old
right
part of
on
town.
the highway.
Yeah,
right on the freeway.
People have said they've heard noises. There's no explanation. They've glimpsed actual apparitions who appear and vanish at will.
That's what I'm talking about.
And there's the spirit of the Lavender Lady.
Oh yeah, the lavender lady. Why is she called the lavender lady?
Because she wore a lot of lavender.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And back when people didn't wear a lot of lavender,
Right.
which everyone wears lavender.
She actually just wore big bushels of lavender.
Yeah.
That's when they should have realized that this family was going a little crazy.
And you can still drive by the old Lemp Brewery too, which is pretty cool and old school. And
is that a hint?
we should probably do it. I'd love to go by there. But we're not going to do the tour today.
No.
We've got to get to the Bell Witch Cave.
We're going to go to the Bell Witch Cave. We're going to make a detour through Metropolis, Illinois for all you collectors out there. There's a giant Superman statue, so we'll take a photo of that. And then we're going to hit the Bell Witch Cave, and we'll talk more about that when we get there. We did that episode two, I think, with Bane Gibby was our Bell Witch episode. That is in Tennessee and Franklin County. No, it's off the top of my head. Can't remember. Anyway, and then we're gonna go down to down to Hopkinsville and see if we can't catch ourselves a goblin.
And you know what else is in Hopkinsville?
Oh, right. Please tell our listeners. We haven't. Bryce has brought up this individual a few times, but we have not devoted an entire episode to him, and we need to.
It's the hometown of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, and he's also buried in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Robertson County, Tennessee is where the Bell Witch Cave is. Great. So we're going to do that, and maybe we can see the gravestone of Edgar Cayce.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the road.
Let's do it.
BCC road trip.
We're back.
Hey guys, we're back and we're on the road. We've recently left Metropolis, Illinois, home of the Super Museum and a giant Superman statue, which is a little confusing because I don't think Superman has any association with Metropolis, Illinois, outside of the name Metropolis, which we were debating whether or not the city named itself after the Metropolis from the comics in order to attract tourism.
Yeah, it's not a metropolis of a city. It is not a very large city. I would say it's more of a hamlet.
And yes, indeed, it's a quaint American town, complete with a town square, with a giant Superman statue in the square, which is all very cool. But Superman doesn't live in Illinois in the comic book.
Yeah, what is Metropolis supposed to be? New York City?
Gotham is supposed to be New York City. Metropolis is sort of, I think Metropolis is supposed to be sort of a New York, but I always kind of likened it to Chicago because Superman's from Kansas.
Yeah.
And the nearest big city would be Chicago.
Or maybe Metropolis is supposed to be Kansas City.
No, Keystone City is supposed to be Kansas City in the Flash comic books. But Metropolis is also, it's definitely connected to the ocean. So I think it is supposed to be like a big East Coast city somewhere near New York and Gotham City. I tend to put it like maybe south of New York City, like where Delaware would be.
I always thought of Gotham as being Chicago.
Well, it also has a lot. But Gotham, they call New York Gotham.
Where does that come from?
I don't know.
Yeah, because sometimes they'll call the Yankees, like, the Gotham Knights or something. Yeah,
yeah, the Knights of Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the past decade, it's been generally accepted that Gotham is New York. But the confusing thing is in the DC Comics, there is also a New York City. So all three of them exist somewhere on the East Coast. Gotham is probably, like in Massachusetts.
But Gateway City is supposed to be Boston. Or is Boston...
Boston might be Gotham.
Okay.
Maybe Gotham is like if Boston grew to become a large city. I think Metropolis is in between New York City and Washington, D.C.
Does the band Boston exist in the DC universe?
That is a good question. What is
and
Superman?
what are they called
What
in
is
the DC universe?
What is Superman? Well, if Boston existed in the DC universe, then they'd be called Gotham.
Yeah.
According to our own logic.
Right.
This is very confusing. Anyway,
we were in Metropolis, Illinois. There was a great Superman museum there.
Yeah, they had. It was a very ill-lit Superman museum.
They need some better lighting, but they had some amazing stuff.
They had a lot more than I thought a small town in Illinois would ever have. They had costumes. We learned that Christopher Reeves wore a wig.
Yeah, they had Christopher Reeves wig collection.
Christopher Reeves wig collection.
His weave
collect. They had his weaves.
Christopher Reeves weaves is what it was called. That section of the museum.
That would be a great hair salon next door to the Metropolis Museum. Would be Christopher Reeves weaves.
And they had all the super suits of all the Supermen throughout the years.
I heard them say that they did not have the George Reeves super suit on display, but I thought I saw it in there.
That was here the last time I drove through Metropolis.
Also,
they must have taken it down.
I'm a little concerned that these costumes aren't getting dusted.
Yeah, they looked kind of dusty and they're sagging a little bit.
A little saggy. I saw, did you see on the way, so to get into the restroom, you had to go through this like back room, and did you see the melting Superman statue with like the giant weird dick?
No.
Oh, I'll post it. It was.
You took a picture?
Yeah, I took a video of it. He was like melting, but he was melting the whatever the plaster or wax that cast the mannequin was melting in a downward fashion that gave it a very, very large. I mean, he is called Superman, but a very weird bulge in his trunks. It was frightening. Which goes.
That's why it was in the back room.
Yeah,
it was scaring children.
Not on display. Which also goes to my theory that Superman, even though he looks like a man, is an alien and might have a strange phallus.
Oh yeah,
an alien-like phallus.
Yeah.
I tried pitching that in Robot Chicken, and we couldn't get it voted through.
Really?
But yeah, that he had like a Lovecraftian.
Oh, that would have been
penis.
great.
And then so it was cool. There was like tons of toys and collectibles. I felt guilty that the collectors section of this podcast has been sort of long neglected due to time constraints. I felt like I should have gotten a collectible, but I didn't want to buy a $3.95 rock that was painted with green glow-in-the-dark paint.
They also had Clark Kent Clark Kent glasses, and it was just the black glasses.
Yeah, they're just plastic glasses that they've are upcharging. But I got to say, the staff was very friendly. It was very cool. The building itself is great. I took some awesome pictures of the building.
Great photo op.
If you're passing through Illinois, definitely stop in Metropolis. Get some photo ops with the billboard. Get it with the giant Superman statue. You
tap danced in front of the Superman statue.
Put that up on my Instagram today. I'll recycle it for when this episode goes live. Dave, any final thoughts on the Metropolis Museum? Super Museum.
There's a Super Girl wing.
Oh yeah, there
to
was.
the Superman Museum,
and there was a wing dedicated to the long and often regrettable Superman Returns.
Yeah, they had every Superman movie and TV show represented there. Definitely stop on in. It was not haunted, but it was still very, very cool.
I mean, he's a looming mythological alien that is a part of American folklore.
And we were talking about how there should be a Smallville town that you can visit in Kansas.
Yeah, why isn't there Smallville? That would make more sense.
Some town with a terrible name in Kansas needs to rename itself Smallville. That's our idea.
Yeah, like Hicksburg.
Yeah, Hicksburg. Nobody wants to go to Hicksburg. But like, if you change your name to Smallville, everyone will want to go there.
Hatebug, Kansas.
Hatebug.
People don't like those words.
I think there's a Hookerville, Kansas.
That should stay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right.
We're heading down the highway on our way to. We're in Kentucky now.
We're going into Bell Witch. We might not get there in time before it closes, but we're gonna try.
We spent too much time taking pictures of Christopher Reeves weaves.
I had to take a few different versions of the tap dance in front of the statue, so I apologize if we don't make it on time. But we're gonna at least look at a cave.
Let's do it.
We may not go in.
All right.
Well, it wouldn't be an adventure if everything went according to plan. So we worried about time. We called ahead to the Bell Witch Museum to make sure we could get there in time for a tour of the cave and the house. And it turns out they don't open until May 1st anyway, which was not clear
on the website.
No, but
at least we didn't get there and there was like a stuffed witch out front that was said, "Hey folks, Bell Witch Cave is closed."
That is how she sounded when she was tormenting the Bell family. Old Kate, that old pesky poltergeisty witch. So instead, we'll we might go do a look-see on Sunday on our way out of Nashville. Which this is all meaningless to you, the listener. But so instead, we are about 10 miles outside of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We're going to go check out Hopkinsville, find the grave of Edgar Cayce, and maybe see a goblin or two.
This is one of my all-time favorite UFO encounter stories.
I'm for sure.
Very pumped that we are seconds away from being in Hopkinsville.
10 more like minutes away.
10 hours away.
Now, do we know if the original Sutton farmhouse is still standing?
I Googled it and it said it was.
But we also Googled the Bell Witch tours and they didn't tell us they were closed May 1st.
You're right.
So maybe if we got time, which clearly is not on our side today, maybe we can find the actual Sutton house. Maybe we can ask someone in town. We'll go to the information center and we'll ask them if it is, in fact, still standing today.
They better sell little green goblins at the gift shop
real goblins
in town.
In bird cages. Just so you guys know, the landscape, we're driving along some white picket rail fencing, a lot of ranch homes. This is
farm country.
Big open farm country, wide highway roads, and beautiful. We're passing a colonial house right now, brick colonial estate, I would say, with probably some horses. This is beautiful out here.
Very
and spring is blooming. Spring is blooming.
Now, we're in Kentucky. The grass is not blue. It's green.
I don't understand. False advertising. Fake news. the always fresh joke. Fake news.
Why are the barns painted black?
What's up with your barns, Kentucky?
I've seen 2 black barns. What does that mean?
Why
they should be red.
We do red barns.
Things
in
are getting creepy already.
Oh boy. All right. If you know why the barns are black in Kentucky, please comment in the comment section below this episode on the Patreon page. Oh, look, here comes some cows. All right.
Oh yeah, hey cows.
Sup, cows? All right. We will check back in with you guys soon. Hey guys, it's Michael, and we are in the Hopkinsville Christian County Information Center with Tiffany Queeby. Is that correct? Awesome. Tiffany's been helping Dave and me out. We just got some awesome Hopkinsville merch. And Tiffany, I thought since you were working at the Information Center, you could maybe tell us a little bit about the history of Hopkinsville. You are not from Hopkinsville originally, that's correct?
Correct.
But you work in the Information Center.
I do.
Awesome.
And we do all of the tourism promotion here for all the different events and activities and different attractions and venues that we have all across Hopkinsville and Christian County.
Awesome. What's happening in Christian County and Hopkinsville in particular that people will want to come visit this town for?
Oh my goodness. There's different things that happen each and every day. We keep all of our folks up to date. Our hometown tourists here, that we like to call them, as well as all of our visitors on our website and also our app. I mean, there's pick a day, there's always something going on.
Now, I'm in town because I'm a fan, as I told you before we started recording, of the Kelly Hopkinsville UFO incident featuring some glow-in-the-dark goblins and the Sutton family out at a farmhouse in Kelly. There's, in fact, a festival or a weekend that surrounding this event happening in August. Is that?
Yes, it happens in August 16th and 17th this year, and it is the Kelly Little Green Men Days Festival.
Awesome.
And for more information, you can check out our website, visit hopkinsville.com. And then also the Kelly folks, of course, they have a website and Facebook page. And you can just actually go to the Kelly Little Green Men Festival event on Facebook.
I feel like if you Google that, it's going to come right up.
Yes.
I think I've come across something for that in my research before. So.
Yes, it's an event that they hold each and every year, and they're always looking to do new and exciting things and incorporate different things each year.
And I just picked up an awesome book here called The Kelly Green Men Alien Legacy Revisited by Geraldine Sutton Stith. She was a child who encountered the Little Green Men, correct?
Correct.
Oh, that's awesome. And she'll be at the festival, or she was this past year?
She usually is at the festival each year, and at the festival this past year, she had some handmade, hand-stitched little green goblins that...
I'm really jealous that you
I
don't
think
sell
that
these because I want one for the studio. No, but they'll have them at the festival, so I'll grab a picture of those and post it on the Instagram. That's so cool. So, real quick, I have to ask you, as we ask all of our guests, what do you think about the Little Green Men, the goblins? Do you think it's a true story? Do you think it might be a true story?
I think it's definitely a true story.
Nice.
To what level of, the experience and what folks saw, it's kind of, up for interpretation, but I think it's definitely a true story and a true encounter that they had, and something that sticks with the family and their descendants to this day. And of course, it's the story of E.T. was loosely based around the Kelly encounter, and that is super cool. And another one of the other fascinating ways that Hopkinsville is known all throughout the globe.
Yeah, I've known about it for years. And now, have you ever seen anything? Any UFOs out here? Any apparitions? I certainly have in my life, not here, but so you're in good company.
I have not.
All right.
But maybe one day.
You got to keep hope alive.
That's
awesome.
right.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so welcoming and hooking us up with all this awesome merch. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for stopping in.
Okay, cool. And you guys out there listening, please come by Hopkinsville sometime and check out those dates in August. The Bigfoot Collectors Club will have to get there at some point. If not this year, then soon. Thanks, Tiff.
Thank you.
We are in Riverside Cemetery in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and we are parked just outside the grave or just next to the grave. We didn't drive over the graves. First of all, I want to say we did not drive over the graves.
We did not dig him up either.
We are near the gravesite of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet. Dave, what do you know about Edgar Cayce off the top of your head?
I'm just spitballing here. Some of my favorite Edgar Cayce stories. He was obsessed with Atlantis, and he would have visions of Atlantis and have dreams of Atlantis. And he would go into these deep sleeps, and he would come out of them with... wasn't he one of the people that predicted that Atlantis would be discovered in the Bimini Islands?
I think so. Didn't he remote view? Wasn't he remote viewing while he slept?
It was like early
he
remote
would go,
viewing.
Yeah, he would go look at like the moon and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't know that much about Edgar Cayce off the top of my head.
I don't think he ever went to the moon.
Who am I thinking of? Didn't George Norrie talk about someone who used to remote view to the moon?
He might have.
Okay.
Edgar Cayce was a very fascinating, special man.
And what did he say was under what of a famous monument?
He he remote viewed or went into one of his deep sleeps, and he came out and he said, if they dig under the left or right paw of the Sphinx in Egypt,
there are only two choices.
Yeah, you will find a secret chamber, and inside that secret chamber are like the secrets of Atlantis, where you will find Atlantis. And people have been trying to dig underneath that paw for years now, and I think the Egyptian authorities always shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to F up the Sphinx.
Yeah, but man, what if there's a secret chamber in there?
What if that's...
I think they did a one of those scans where they can tell what's under the paw, and they said there's something down there, but we can't let you dig.
Al Capone's vault.
What if there was just like an old crown of an Atlantean king, and once you put it on, you became imbued with the powers of an Atlantean god?
Let's go get our shovels. That's not something I should say in a graveyard. Oh, look, a graveyard cat. Cute. I'm worried we're going to pick up a ghost. Okay.
So let's get out and go visit and pay our respects to Edgar Cayce.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we just now are leaving the cemetery where Edgar Cayce is buried. We went to the Hopkinsville Information Center. We went to downtown Hopkinsville. Okay, so we learned a couple things, didn't we, David?
Yes.
One, we learned that I'm scared of driving through graveyards. Two, we learned, oh my God, what if I ran over one of these giant headstones, knocked it over? I would feel so bad. So the Sutton Farmhouse is still standing up in Kelly, which is north of here, not by too much. But since we are heading down to Nashville, we're gonna try to hit the Sutton Farmstead when we are passing back through on Sunday. What else did we learn?
We learned about the festival.
That's right.
We learned... what else did we learn?
That's about it. I didn't learn much about Hopkinsville. But anyway...
It's very curious that Hopkinsville has two great paranormal stories that happened here. Edgar Cayce and the Little Green Men attack.
Yeah, and they could cash in on it a little bit more.
Yeah, we were saying there isn't a lot to alert you that happened here, that the Little Green Men... There could be a lot more goblin activity here.
Why do you think that is? I mean, this is sort of a quaint, sleepy town. First of all, I got to say, the old school architecture here is pretty awesome. There's a lot of like Victorian, turn-of-the-century buildings. Some of it look almost European. They got a Piggly Wiggly as well, which we're passing right now.
It's pretty awesome.
So why do you think it is that they're not capitalizing? I mean, it's a cool old school town, cool architecture. Is it because it's, that they just kind of want to keep it on the DL a little bit?
Yeah, you wonder if almost the people from the town back then knew that or suspected that the Sutton family was making it up, and they're like, we're not going to publicize this.
Or maybe they just don't want their identity to be all goblins.
Right.
You pointed out that unlike Roswell, like Roswell's whole thing is aliens, so maybe they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, and Roswell, there's Little Green Men everywhere you turn.
We're passing through the downtown again. This is such a cool... old school, man. I mean, you could tell at one point this town was hopping with goblins.
And yeah, there were no goblin T-shirts for purchase. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, there. We found out that one of the little now grown girls, one of the Sutton girls, who's now an adult, Geraldine, she makes goblin dolls and sells them at the festival, and I want one of those dolls.
I cannot believe that wasn't for sale.
It was theirs at the
information
center.
Oh, it was there that they owned.
Yeah,
it
was like theirs.
Their only copy of one.
Guys, get more goblin merch.
Yeah, that
I would have
be
spent
awesome.
$100.
And you know what else they could have at the visitor center? Maybe one of those Zoltar machines, but instead of Zoltar, it's Edgar Cayce.
That would be awesome.
Man,
Edgar Cayce tells your fortune.
Have we ever
You
thought
watch
about
the machine-
running for mayor of Hopkinsville, Kentucky?
The two of us. They should have the machine go to sleep, and you have to wait a full 8 hours for him to wake up and tell you what his dream
And
about
he
you was.
snores really loud, robotic snoring.
That'd be pretty good. And then the
Man.
ticket comes out of his head like a dream.
We have a lot of great ideas.
Oh, I think there's a church in town called the Fourth Dimension.
Yeah, we just drove by the Fourth Dimension Church and Farrell's Hamburgers, which looks delicious.
Oh yeah. If we were eating burgers right now, we would go to Farrell's Burgers. But we're not eating burgers right now because we're being good boys. We're being good, healthy boys.
Can't eat a lot of greasy burgers on a road trip.
No, it doesn't.
Then the whole car smells like
and the
greasy
tum-tum
burgers.
doesn't like it. The tummy says no. All right. Well, we're headed to Nashville. We're going to come back up this way on Sunday. Maybe while we're in Nashville, we'll get some spooky ooky stories from Nashville, Tennessee. I missed my turn. I'm going to stop podcasting and driving. Kids, don't try this at home. We'll see you soon. We'll be back. For you, it'll be instantaneously. For us, who knows how much time has passed. That is the Fourth Dimension at work. It's Michael. Dave and I are driving through the rolling, lulling back country hills of Tennessee. We just drove through Adams, Tennessee, home of the Bell Witch Cave. We are headed back to Kelly Hopkinsville on our way from Nashville to Kansas City.
We had a great day yesterday in Nashville, and now we're heading back.
We're headed back to KC. Hold on while I put on my windshield wipers. So we had a thunderstorm last night. It's nice and rainy, but it's beautiful out here. We are in the country. Lots of roadkill, lots of red barns, a few vultures.
We've seen 2 vultures and 1 turkey.
And it's kind of creepy out here. You can see that this land might have belonged to an ancient spirit that would not want settlers coming on her land and developing, trespassing on her grounds.
There's a lot of dilapidated barns, which is cool and creepy.
Old country dogs hanging out by the side of the road. A train up ahead.
Oh no, we're gonna be stopped by this train.
No, I think. Oh yeah, we are definitely going to be stopped by this train. So, bad news. Bad news. Bell Witch Cave was closed. We knew that going in. Worst news. We couldn't get close enough to even see the property. There was a big gate that was chained, but we got a picture of a cool sign, and we definitely could see where the farm was. But yeah, we couldn't. Once again, the Bell Witch eludes us. In terms of seeing actual paranormal entities, I don't think this is a road trip where that's gonna happen. But it's cool to put a picture and a location to the name of these stories. That's fine. It's part of the experience. You hear the GPS in the background.
Yeah, and the farm was more in the town of Adams than I thought it would be. It was kind of like on the edge of town, but it wasn't. I guess it was kind of.
Yeah, you get off the highway, you drive about 16 miles in, you pass through the little downtown area. Cool old Masonic temple that's abandoned there at the main drag there. And when I say main drag, I mean like it's. I don't even think there's a stoplight in Adams.
Yeah, it's a very small town.
But it's cool. It's beautiful out here. Creepy. I would not want to be in 1807 and dealing with a Bell Witch, Kate Batts' witch. Dave, we ran into last night at Duke's in Nashville. We ran into a listener of Bigfoot Collectors Club, a nice lady, and she was telling us that she used to bring students out for tours here at the Bell Witch Cave, and
Her name was Elise.
Elise, that's right. It was nice to meet you, Elise. If you're listening, if you're a Patreon subscriber, thank you. But she said that she didn't believe it. She said there were rumors around Adams there were rumors around Adams that John Bell was making the whole thing up, and that Andrew Jackson never actually visited the property, that was all just rumor, and John Bell was full of shit, and he was just trying to make all this stuff up for attention.
Yeah, and she said a lot of the locals here don't believe the legends either.
Well, that's how a legend comes back to haunt you.
Yeah.
It's just like in Westeros, they didn't believe in the White Walkers anymore. And guess what just came through the wall? Spoiler alert. But yeah, it's gorgeous. What do you think so far of Tennessee? And
I love it. It's nice out here.
It
but
is.
I can see where this is a good place for a witch.
Yep.
There's a lot of little swampy groves, lots of vultures,
Woods. Yeah.
It's beautiful yet haunting.
Yeah, it's beautiful but unsettling, I would say. Okay, well, we're going to make our way to back to Kelly Hopkinsville, see if we can find another plot of grass that was once a location where something cool happened.
All right. Upward and onward.
Inward.
Do you want to sing one of our road trip songs? We usually write road trip songs.
I don't have a road trip song that comes to the top of my head. What road trip song are you thinking of?
We have a song about the Butterfield Steakhouse.
Oh yeah, we. Where was the Butterfield Steakhouse?
I think it was in Arizona. Was it in on Route 66?
Oh yeah, we're
the Butterfield Steakhouse, Stagecoach Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Butterfield
Steakhouse. She put the steak in the field and the butter on the steak, and the steak goes in the field. And that's how you go to Butterfield Steakhouse.
Butterfield, you put the butter in the field, then you field on the butter. Get it on the steak, and the steak in the field. Butterfield Steakhouse.
Butterfield Steakhouse. First you get a cow and you take it from the field, then you make the cow a steak, then you put it in the field, then you go and get some butter and you smear it on the field, then you lather on the steak, and it's Butterfield Steakhouse. Butterfield Steakhouse. We're in Kentucky.
We just entered Kentucky.
Whoa, check it out. Little gas station.
As the kids would say, Kentucky, we are in you.
Is that what the kids are saying?
Yeah, they say it all the time.
That's very aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. They tweet about stuff like that.
Oh, do they? We're in you. The Depot Wine and Spirits. We're not in you.
You put the
spirits in the depot, and the depot in the field, and the beer in your belly, and a butter on the steak, and the steak is on a plate in the Butterfield Steakhouse. House on the steak in the field, everyone's in the field. Butterfield Steakhouse.
Well, when you feel hungry and you want yourself some steak, go to the field. But don't forget the butter. The butter's at the house. Get the butter out. Put it on a cow, and you ride that cow to the Butterfield Steakhouse.
This is a cool old little town.
Oh, yeah, this is cool.
Man. Oh, cool old little delicious Coca-Cola sign. Tobacco Farmers Unite. Planners of Protect. Okay, I drove too fast past that sign, so we're not going to read that.
Delicious Coca-Cola. Oh, yeah, dude, that's cool.
That's awesome. Relieves fatigue. Coca-Cola relieves fatigue. Whoa, Dave.
Opera House.
A little jalapeno grill.
The Jalapeno Opera House.
They have the tacos there. Ole Opera House. That's the one business in this town. Where are we?
I don't know what town this is.
Sometimes you just don't know.
Oh, they're waving us on.
Waving us
All
on.
right, we're on our way to Kelly.
Nice, friendly folks in the Butterfield Steakhouse. You put the field on the butt and the on the steak and the steak on your head, and now it's a hat in the big old Butterfield Steak Hat House.
Well, there's a house in a field, and there's butter in the field. The house in the field has steak, and the butter's in the field, but the house is in the field. as well. And well, when you're hungry for some steak and you're hungry for some butter, come to the Butterfield Steakhouse. Come to the house where there's butter in the field. The field is full of steak. Butterfield Steakhouse.
Butterfield Steakhouse.
Oh, Butterfield Steakhouse.
We're back on the freeway. We left Kelly, Kentucky not too long ago, and we managed to find nothing.
Yeah, we went to Kelly, the town adjacent
just
town
north
to
of Hopkinsville, where the Sutton Taylor family farm was located during that crazy night in 1955 when a UFO landed in the woods and little green goblins in silver jumpsuits attacked a family of Kentucky citizens.
And Kelly was an even smaller town than Adams, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Kelly was pretty much a church and a railroad
And a little
stop.
park where they have the Kelly Station Park where they have the Little Green Men days. We found a cool UFO playground piece of playground equipment, which I've already posted on the Instagram. And then we did manage to find, using the power of the internet, the approximate location of where the farmhouse once stood. Now, we don't know how accurate this was. It's obviously not there anymore. I think it was an old, tiny, cabiny farmhouse. It's long since been torn down. So, but it said that the park is on the property that used to be the farm.
Yeah, there were some newer houses on the actual spot, so it looks like the farmhouse was torn down a long time ago.
Yeah, and the road's kind of going through that area as well. So
I'd say there were about maybe 10, 12, 15 houses, but they were even some, like, I mean, they were...
We were out in the middle. I mean,
Yeah.
Kelly is kind of nowheresville. I mean, it is out in the country.
And you can picture it in 1955, it being even more nowhere.
It would have to. It would probably look like that farmhouse in Back to the Future when he goes back in time, and it's the Twin Pines farm.
Right.
That must have been what it looked like.
And yeah, the park was cool. The big UFO was cool, and that's where they have the celebration. And there was one little drawing of a little green man.
These guys got to get on their branding.
Yeah, I pictured there being more little green men.
I think it's just because it's so Christian out here. They don't want to play up the spooky stuff.
It is Christian County.
It's literally in the heart of Christian County. It was stormy. It had thunder. We had a thunderstorm, so the ground was very wet and soggy. So you can't see in the photo, but it was very muddy under that flying saucer. But I'm glad we went. Aren't you glad that we checked it out?
I've been reading about where that took place almost my entire life, and we went there today, and it looked a little bit different. I always pictured it like looking like my grandma and grandpa's farm in Lewisburg, Kansas, being on a hill, like overlooking a creek and kind of out in the middle of nowhere. But it was more flat. It was flatter than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Not as heavily wooded as I thought.
Yeah,
too.
I pictured it being in the woods.
Yeah, I did too. It is strange, I have to say, once you see how close the Bell Witch Cave is to Hopkinsville. I mean, we're talking under an hour's drive.
Mm-hmm.
You really do feel like there's something going on in this area of the country. Or there was, at least in the 50s. Well, I guess Bell Witch was way back in the 1800s, but I don't know. It's weird. There's something going on in Kentucky and in Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, there's a triangle of strangeness down here. What's the name of the is it the paranormal?
Well, there's the Bridgewater Triangle, but that's further northeast.
Right, that's West Virginia.
Yeah, man, I think it's up in New York.
Massachusetts, isn't it?
Yeah, up in the northeast. But I'm not sure what the name of this
Oh, there was the sign that's called it the Nashville Ring of Fire.
Oh yeah, there's a
Or
apparently
the
there's
Tennessee
some,
Ring of Fire.
I think there's a tourist kind of network of landmarks called the Ring of Fire, which we don't know too much about, and it said old haunts and legends of Tennessee,
And
mysteries of Tennessee or something. But I think also it's like you can, I think like Broadway Street in downtown Nashville is probably on the Ring of Fire because
Yeah.
it's like it's a landmark. But the Bell Witch Cave was on that, was marked with one of those. So if you guys know anything about the Tennessee Ring of Fire network of these landmarks, comment in the sections below on the Other Side page, or Instagram us and tell us maybe some other locations that you know about. And we failed to mention that the woman we spoke to last night said there was a super haunted Civil War battlefield near
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
In Murfreesboro,
it was.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was the most haunted Civil War battlefield.
Whoa.
Except I thought that was maybe Gettysburg.
I mean, I think every Civil War battlefield is
Yeah.
pretty haunted. We have taken a lot of paranormal road trips together, Dave. What?
We have.
Let's go through. Let's reflect now. Let's look back on some of our road trips. What was the first paranormal road trip that you and I took together?
Was it our Bigfoot road trip?
I think it was Bigfoot road trip.
And before we did that, through the years, we've done a lot of ghost hunting.
Yeah, we did. We started checking haunted places out together in Lawrence, Kansas at the Eldridge Hotel. I think we talked about that on your episode. We saw some orbs. And
We went to the very haunted Epperson house and tried to get some ghost pictures on the
Where's the Epperson house?
UMKC's campus in Kansas City,
And
which
it's
is
just a big old mansion, right?
supposedly one of the most haunted mansions in the United States, and they've actually closed it off because people ghost hunt there a lot, and there were classes in there. There's a lot of weird stories about the Epperson house, and we kind of poked our head around there.
Was
This
there
was-
a murder there? Was there any kind of
there's
weird death?
Yeah, there's a story of an affair and someone committing suicide, and someone said, this is the weirdest part about Epperson House, a police officer on campus swears his car was hit by an invisible car
What?
in front of Epperson House.
Did he watch it happen?
Yeah, he heard the smash and crash and looked down, and his car was moving, and it was like another car had rear-ended it, and it was because it was parked in the street in front of Epperson House.
That's insane. I've never heard that
Isn't
story.
that crazy?
That is bonkers.
So there's
Wow.
invisible cars smashing
There
other
are ghost cars?
Yeah.
What is happening?
And so that was when we first started doing our investigations.
Do you remember the first haunted house you ever heard of?
My grandma and grandpa's farmhouse, which reminds me of the Hopkinsville story, is supposedly haunted by my grandma.
Did you talk
Sorry, my great grandma.
Did you talk about this on the podcast?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
on
I
the might have been
forgot.
on the first listener files.
Oh, that's right.
So that was the first one I heard of.
I remember that there was a so I used to go to preschool in Stillwell, Kansas, and I remember that there was an old like saloon or
Gas
theater
station.
gas station that was on a corner that we had to turn at to go to my preschool. And I remembered even being in like newspapers when I was a kid that was a haunted gas station.
And it was a boy, wasn't it?
I thought it.
Or was
I don't know. I thought it was like a. I don't know.
I
was
thought
too
they
scared
called
of
it like rotten. This is not Robert the Doll, but like Robert the Friendly Ghost or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
But
that
that's
always creeps me out.
I remember seeing a photo of it in the newspaper, and then my mom or my sister pointing it out to me when I was a kid. Which,
And they tore that building down.
yeah, it's gone now. But that I used to pass by that every time, and my sister, anytime we would drive past it, we'd be like, "That's the haunted." It was looked boarded up at the time.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, but that always freaked me out. But yeah, we took a Bigfoot road trip, which was we drove up the
we
101.
did 2 Bigfoot road trips.
We did. I think our first road trip was we were just taking a trip up to San Francisco, and we stopped in Felton, California, at that little Bigfoot museum there,
That was awesome.
which I had discovered on a drive up to Vancouver. And that guy, there's like this old guy who looks like George R.R. Martin working there, and he showed us. Were you on the trip with me when he showed us the footage of the juvenile Sasquatch that was apparently stealing like apples out of their apple orchard?
Yep.
And he had like night vision or night trail camera footage of you, and you could see something running through the trees. And that's a cool little museum. I think it's called, is it just the Bigfoot Museum? No, the Bigfoot Museum's in Willow Creek, but this is a smaller museum, but that was really cool.
And he also knew how to do Bigfoot calls. He did Sasquatch calls.
Oh, that's right. He did Sasquatch calls for us.
That was awesome.
I forgot about that. He stood there and went, "Ah."
Yeah, can you remember the different types of calls he did?
I just remember he went, "Wah."
It was awesome.
And held it for a really long time.
And there are all sorts of molds and casts that you could buy.
Is
and
it
carvings.
Felton, California, or Fenton?
Fenton.
You talk to the people while I Google as I drive. We'll figure it out. I think it's Felton.
It's near San Jose, right?
Yeah, it's south of San Jose. I think we were going to WonderCon.
Oh, yeah.
In San Francisco. This is 10 years ago now. And then we decided a couple years after that we would take an official Bigfoot road trip where we drove all the way up to Oregon and back, and we went to the Redwoods, and I think we even went back into that museum.
Is that where the Winchester Mystery House is, too?
That's in San Jose.
Yeah, that was cool. That was the same trip.
Yeah, we didn't do the tour because it's like ridiculously overpriced, but we did wander around everywhere that we could in that area. That was on that.
And we went to the mystery spot, too.
The mystery spot in Santa Cruz is really fun. It's one of those, like, gravity is confusing me.
Optical illusion places where you can walk on the wall.
And like metal balls roll uphill. And then we did a couple years after that, or the year after that, we did Area 51. We drove all the way out to Nevada. We went to the Little Alien. We saw
so cool
a stealth bomber fly over my car.
We were the only humans, except for the people inside the Little Alien, that we saw that entire day.
Yeah, that was insane.
We were out in the middle of nowhere.
And we went to Tonopah, Nevada, home of
Haunted
the Clown Motel.
Oh, yeah.
And they had that crazy old graveyard there that was super spooky next to it with the wooden headstones.
There was like an epidemic.
And the Tonopah Hotel itself was supposedly haunted. Super haunted old silver mining town.
Do you remember sitting at the bar in Tonopah and that couple was at the end of the bar? And we started creating a storyline, and then we heard what they were talking about, and it was like the guy they were dressed like in a cowboy hat, and the guy was like, or no, the girl was like,
I vaguely remember.
How come you don't text me back when I text you?
Oh yeah, they were.
And he was like, I'm a busy guy. I work all day. I don't have time to text you back. And then this other guy walked up and he's like, well, hello. And they were like, it was almost like there was a love triangle or something.
Oh, maybe they were looking for a unicorn. Maybe they were having a third.
Oh.
Maybe they were looking for a third.
It was like a small town tryst or something was going on there.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
But yeah, that was a really haunted hotel.
That was a cool hotel, too.
It was a very haunted old mining town.
Yep. Then a couple years after that, we did Roswell, which I've spoken about a number of times on the show. And we went to the Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona, which is super, super haunted. They have an awesome coffee table up in the lounge area that is a...
huge Ouija board.
Yeah, huge Ouija board. What are some of your favorite memories from the road trips that we've taken together?
Going to the second Bigfoot road trip where we went to Willow Creek
Right.
was awesome. We drove all the way to Willow Creek, up into the mountains. I mean, looking around, I was just eyes peeled out the window looking for any signs of Bigfoot. I really thought we were going to see one that trip.
Yeah.
We got up there. The museum was closed, but, I mean, just seeing
We
that
need to plan our trips better around what museums are
Yeah.
open. But we just tend to go in the spring because it's a slow time of year for me and you as well. You can get off work. So, but I think maybe we got to start delaying some of these trips to May so we can go to some of these museums.
Yeah, I mean, just being there and seeing Bigfoot signage and posters,
Murals,
and
all that.
murals everywhere was amazing.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of hoping Hopkinsville or Kelly would do a little bit of that with the goblins. Like, you've got a mascot, use it.
And then Roswell was amazing because there everything is aliens everywhere.
Yep.
And the museum was great, and we had the private tour with Dennis.
That was insane.
And
Balthazar.
he knew everything.
Dude, that was one of the that I think was
the highlight.
The highlight, my favorite. Yeah, those two definitely.
He was legit. If anyone goes to Roswell, look up those private tours with Dennis Balthazar.
Yeah, he was incredible, worth every penny.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
I think he buried them.
It was great, and the museum's great, and the Buffalo Wild Wings there, not so good, but...
That's right. Weren't we watching a Royals game there, trying to find a Royals game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and we ate
we ate at another restaurant.
It was not very good.
No.
The food needs work in Roswell.
It's a long drive out there, but once you get there, you are in UFO heaven.
I love that library in the Roswell
UFO
Museum.
library.
And literally, I think Stanton Friedman called the library because we heard a woman go, "Okay, hold on just one second." She's like, "Stanton Friedman's online too."
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
And it's awesome library with every paranormal book you'd ever want to read, and
all
these
types of subjects.
awesome alien murals of the Roswell crash and cool alien stuff and Star Wars and Star Trek stuff in there. I mean, I really want to go. I would love to go, like, do a residency in Roswell. I want to record a podcast from that library at some point. We've got to do that for Bigfoot Collectors Club.
I want to spend a whole day just in that library. I mean, we didn't have much time there, but it had every book you could ever want.
Man, that was so cool. That was so cool.
Have you heard the recent news that someone bought the crash site?
What?
The farm, the land, someone bought it.
I bet it's Robert Bigelow.
Probably.
He's probably going to go looking for metal out there. Huh, crazy.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
That was a new news story.
Whoa. Where are we?
I don't know. Oh, great. We're lost somewhere.
Oh, boy, lost one more time. Lost one more time. Lost again.
Oh, we're by the National Quilt Museum.
Oh,
cool.
Are we in Paducah?
Oh, we're close to Paducah. Hey, it's the Funky Monkey. Paint your own pottery studio.
Cool. They really know how to party in this town. Dave, before we sign off on this section of the podcast, there's a little game that you've never played because we didn't invent it. When we hadn't invented it yet when you were on the show.
Okay.
So I would like to play a rapid fire game with you called Bullshit or Believe It.
Okay.
I'm going to pull over and we're going to play.
All right.
We'll be right back.
This is one of my favorite segments that you do on your show.
Mine too. Okay. On your mark. Get set. Ghosts.
Believe.
UFOs.
Believe.
It. You gotta say believe it.
Oh, okay. Start over.
Okay. On your mark. Get set. Ghosts.
Believe it.
UFOs.
Believe it.
Bigfoot.
Believe it.
Angels.
Believe it.
Gnomes.
Believe it.
Fairies.
Bullshit.
Unicorns.
Believe it.
Loch Ness Monster.
Believe it.
Alien Greys.
Believe it.
Dogman.
Believe it.
Parallel universes.
Believe it.
Shapeshifters.
Believe it.
Mermaids.
Bullshit.
Heaven.
Believe.
Hell.
Believe.
It's dragons.
Bullshit.
Yeti.
Believe it.
Elves.
Believe it.
ESP.
Believe it.
Chupacabra.
Believe it.
Demons.
Believe it.
Atlantis.
Believe it.
Life on other planets.
Believe it.
World peace.
Bullshit.
Peace in the multiverse.
Bullshit.
Okay. Not bad. A little cynical there at the end.
Yeah.
Do you really believe in unicorns?
Yeah, I think at some point there was a unicorn.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
What happened to the unicorns?
There's got to be some. Maybe it was just one horse with a deformity, and that's where the legend came from.
A deformed horse sounds a lot less magical than a unicorn. But maybe you're right. Maybe it had like a weird lump growing out of its forehead, and it turned, it made it look like it was a unicorn.
Yeah, that's where I think the legend started. And there's those narwhals. They're like unicorns of the sea.
That's what Bryce always says, but that's a completely different animal.
You know, one thing I do not believe in is seahorses, which are kelpie.
Oh, the kelpies?
The kelpie, I don't believe in that.
Yeah, there's people who think that the Loch Ness Monster is a kelpie.
There's a great book I read on the legend of kelpie and mermaids and
was it Nick Redfern?
Sea cows and all that stuff.
Was it Nick Redfern?
Maybe.
Did he write that?
Yeah, that's the book you told me to read.
Yeah, I need to read it.
That's a good book.
All right, cool. There was one more, ESP. You were like, believe it.
Oh yeah, I believe in all that stuff.
Got it.
I'm a big believer, just not in peace in the multiverse and world peace.
It's gonna be a thing.
I don't think that'll ever happen. There's too much conflict.
Gotta bring balance to the force.
Yeah. And what was the other one I don't believe in? I believe in dogmen. I don't believe in fairies.
Oh yeah.
Because they, it's just not. They're too little.
Yeah.
They're too small.
But I think like the fae, I think fairies as interdimensional beings that are maybe like aliens. Yes.
Yeah, I don't believe.
Not in like Tinkerbell fairies.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, it's open to interpretation. I'm saying I don't believe in Tinkerbell fairies.
I'm picturing really tiny little,
sure,
like Tinkerbell.
Yeah,
type
that's
things.
fair.
So,
got it.
But yeah, no mermaids, because of that book really convinced me that mermaids are not real. That Nick Redfern book.
Yeah, I don't think mermaids were ever a thing.
It was just on, drunk seafaring people.
They just wanted to see some tits.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they would see sea cows and go, man, that sea cow, man, if you just put a wig on that and just kind of squint it a little bit, that sea cow looks good.
These guys are a bunch of perverts.
Yeah, they were. Well, sea people, sea captains, they're all pervs.
What's wrong with them?
Too much time out there in the sea.
Yeah, why would you ever want to... That's the ultimate escape. Just get on a boat and go away.
They're out there looking for mermaids.
Yeah.
They're looking to find a connection with something out there that they couldn't find on the land.
Yeah.
They're getting away from it all.
Like they say in the song Brandy, my life, my love, and my lady is the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder why we're going this back road route. My GPS is, we're heading back to the freeway, but...
We did not take this way down.
No, we did not. But we're coming back a different way than we went down but it feels like we should be
on the main
road. I think the Bell Witch has messed with us.
Do you think we brought home any residual energy from the Bell Witch Cave area?
No, I don't think we got close enough.
Do you think we brought back any residual spirits from the Edgar Cayce gravesite?
Maybe not. Maybe the graveyard. I think we're fine. I don't know. If there's a spirit in this car, now's your opportunity to say something. We'll have a little bit of silence, and if we hear an EVP, we'll know, okay? Spirits, are you with us?
I just heard a little something on my audio.
No, you did not.
Yeah. It was a little scratch.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll show up on the clip, but I heard it in the headphones.
All right, let's try this
Riley,
again.
pull that up.
Spirits, was that you now making that noise?
Lighter, but it happened again.
Son of a bitch.
It sounded like talking.
It said, I want tacos.
So, Michael, I host a podcast called Taco the Town.
Yes.
Where we review taco joints.
Yes, which we did in Nashville.
Yeah, we did
went
an
to Mas
episode in
Tacos.
Nashville.
It was
Mas
delicious.
Tacos, por favor, in
God,
Nashville.
some of the best tacos I've
delicious.
ever
That
had.
episode will be up sometime soon. I did a haunted taco restaurant review, and we did a seance inside the taco restaurant, and we got some weirdness there.
I remember listening to that episode. Do you remember which one that is, in case your listeners would like, or our listeners would like to check it out?
It was the Halloween episode from last year. So
you
look
could
up.
totally hear somebody be like, okay. Like somebody, you guys were asking questions. You could hear. I was listening to it. I got chills listening to it. You could hear it. Whatever it was responding.
We had that spirit box, and you could hear it say, okay. But yeah, and then also the power shut off on the water fountain inside the restaurant. That was weird.
That never has happened before.
Yeah, and all the workers at the restaurant said that thing is never shut off. It's on all the time.
What
it
was the
like
restaurant? Why is it haunted?
Nobody knows. It used to be in a field, of course. It's in a strip mall, and I don't know what it was before it was a Mexican restaurant, but the owner says ever since he bought it, he's been experiencing strange things. Like they'd hear crashing glasses coming from the kitchen area, and they'd go back there. Nothing was crashed. Nothing was broken. TVs would turn off and on at night after they'd shut them off for the night.
Whoa.
Workers have said they've seen a ghost woman sitting at the bar and walking it back into the kitchen.
That's for employees only.
The employees have seen a lot of weird stuff after hours. They actually brought a priest in to bless the place, and they put these objects around the restaurant hidden to kind of ward off spirits. Whoa. And also a very strange thing with the restaurant, a Santeria priestess, a Santeria priest came in and did a ceremony there.
Cool.
And he was feeling all sorts of things.
Cool.
So, and that's what we had some mediums in, and they sensed some of the same things that the Santeria priest sensed.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the mediums is a listener of this show.
Yes.
Bigfoot Collectors Club, and she's written in.
She was great. She's a Kansas City paranormal investigator.
Yeah,
so.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna pay attention to where the map's taking us in case I miss a turn back there, but I know we're coming back a different way than we came.
Do you think
down.
we'll ever get out of Kentucky today?
Do you think that we're trapped in a parallel dimension, the Kentucky verse?
Everything's starting to look the same. There's a Dollar General every mile.
We've seen a ton of Dollar Generals on this trip.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening. We'll come back and we'll do a sign off when we know we're done.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we just pulled into Dave's place in Kansas City. It was a long drive from Nashville back home today, Dave. But we had another good trip. Another good trip in the books. 5 states in one day.
Yeah, we had a whirlwind. A whirlwind of a paranormal road trip.
I'm sorry we didn't find any goblins. I'm sorry we didn't see the Bell Witch.
We'll just have to go back when it's not closed season for goblins and witches. Maybe we go back in October.
It's strange that May is the goblin and beginning of goblin and witch season, because you really would think it would be during the colder months of the year.
Yeah, it was great to see those locations finally at last, and they were all in the same area, and we saw a lot of good stuff.
We did. It was fun. I hope you, the listener, had fun joining us on our little road trip. I want to thank all of our Patreon listeners and subscribers for contributing to the show and hanging out with us here on the other side. I want to thank my guest today, W. Dave Cayce. David, where can people who are listening find you and find where is your Dave Bell Cave?
You can find my Instagram, WDaveKeith You can find my Instagram at WDaveKeith, and my podcast is Taco the Town KC.
And you have an Instagram for Taco the Town KC as well.
Which is at Taco the Town KC.
Cool.
And we have new episodes every week.
Now let me ask you, Dave. I live in LA. A lot of my listeners live in other places that are not Kansas City. Why should they listen to Taco the Town?
Because even though it is a Kansas City-centric, Midwest-centric taco podcast, we break down tacos. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we break down tacos for the entire world. We really, really get into tacos. We talk about every aspect of tacos, and every taco lover can identify with what we talk about on this show.
The way that you speak with passion on the subject is really inspiring. I want to thank you for all of the taco-related work you do for the world.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
All right, buddy. Well, let's haul this stuff inside your place, and then I got to go see my mom and daddy.
All right, man. It's been a ride.
Woo, we did
Let's
it
do
again.
it again sometime. Maybe your guest can suggest some other road trips.
Yeah, where do you want us to go? We'll record it. Maybe I'll bring the Bigfoot boys with us.
All right.
Bye, guys. Kisses.